What's up, guys? It's Blaze. I'm here to make another video. This one is on my opinion on voting. Just want to go over some of my thoughts on the current system and my current situation with voting in America, 2019, 2020, whatever fucking year it is, whatever fucking happens. Alright, so I am a 20-year-old, just turned 20. I am gonna keep it real simple. My opinion on voting, the main problem I have with voting, especially myself, is that I am ignorant. I am 100% ignorant when it comes to a lot of in-depth things about what we are voting for in the first place. And part of this has been a choice for a few years now, and part of this is because of the public education that I've received. I've been taught a certain framework of thinking that has not really perpetuated me to really be too aware of what's going on right now. So the current voting situation is that if you're 18 years old, you can vote. It used to not be like that. It used to be 21, and we turned it to 18 whenever we started the draft. Not started the draft, but because of the draft, because if you could fight in the war, you could vote, so to say. But my brain will not be fully developed until the age of 25 when my prefrontal cortex is established. And there are other scientific theories that adulthood isn't fully reached until around 30, but that at least we have the understanding of the frontal cortex. So we can see that I'm not a fully developed adult, even though I have the right to vote in my country. So that is another rationality I have for not really wanting to vote yet. But the main reason is that I don't want my lack of experience, my lack of understanding to lead me to vote for something that I do not actually believe in, because the way it sounds or is appealing to me at the time. I've made some notes. So I wrote lack of cultural experience, but what I mean by that is that I don't have property. I have little property. The property that I do have is not really the type of property the government taxes on. So I don't really have the full experience of what it means to be an adult when it comes to these massive implications of taxes and reform or whatever. Who knows? I haven't been involved long enough, I feel, to really make a stand on a certain realm of thinking and a certain person. A lot of people have idealisms and generalizations and opinions that sound really appealing at first, but once you learn about them over time, you find out that they are selling something that you don't actually want to buy into. And so I'd rather just not make that choice right now as an individual, for my own sake, not really for others to make those choices right now. Maybe this could be seen as a passive way of handling things. I don't really think so, because I'm actively trying to learn about the best means of involving myself in my country through my vote and through my awareness and my education. I'm just not there yet, and I think that's part of being an adult and being aware is not being overly ambitious or impulsive about I know this and I know this, so here you are, you have my vote. One of the big things that I have a problem with is that there are too many ideas and not enough time, especially in modern politics. If you look at the media, if you look at whatever, you're getting crammed down of all these plethora of ideas coming from a range of different social standards or whatever, where these people have been born into different conditions and taught to believe in different things, and a lot of people and a lot of ideas. And I feel like those of my peers, especially a lot of people my age, fall victimhood to a lot of, very appealing sounding policy because we don't know any better, or at least they don't know any better, so they vote on it, and then in the long run, it's something that they don't really believe in. Like, there's more liberals, this is part of the problem too, at a younger age than they are when they grow older, because more people turn into a more conservative mindset after they've been conditioned and living within the system over time, at least statistically speaking. So yeah, those are like my personal opinions. I have like my education is not there. I don't really, I involve myself with a lot of other things. I prefer economy over policy, even though they are very intertwined and pretty much it's all one big system at this point anyway, so you can't learn about one without the other, and I respect that. But I lean towards the math, logistical side of, capitalism and economy and the flow of value. So this is where this may become controversial with you, but I have problems with the system in itself. So let's start with the first one. The big one for me is, or actually they're all big points that I've written down, is identity politics. I feel like identity politics are really misleading and cause unnecessary conflict. In reality, I think we're all seeking a better tomorrow, and through a bunch of labels and definitions, which I know we need, we have a lot of people and a lot of media has portrayed one side or the other as the hero or the victim or yada yada yada, or the enemy. I just kind of find it really ridiculous. Republican versus Democrat, liberal versus conservative. It's really, to me, I see it as us versus them. And I find a real problem with that, because as a country, as a republic, as us all having a say and having the authority, it's a we. It's not one side or the other. It's the same coin. Find it disturbing, personally. I don't know. That's especially when you get into media and you get into trying to learn about things, you can get swayed into tribal thinking about, I'm on this side, you're on that side, why can't you come over here? I'm never coming over there, kind of thing. And it causes unnecessary egotistical, battles within yourself, when in reality, we're all just seeking a more, a better tomorrow, at least in my opinion, hopefully. So, my second note on problems with the system is the government is huge and it has a lot of incentives backed by big money. So what I mean by that is that there's a lot of money that is involved in making policy that regulates the flow of money. And whether you like it or not, money is the monetary exchange system of value that we use in the United States. We use the US dollar. That is what we do here. So you can't ignore it. It's a huge, it's the means of exchange. It's just how we translate our, what we value. You have this, I pay you for that, kind of thing. And so, we have big lobbyists and we have a big government. And the reason that there's all these lobbyists is because the government has the power. So the big money has incentives to, back certain politicians to, who are going to be in the same realm of thinking that will, push their product or service or market further, thus, exponentially growing their influence. And so big money becomes big politics or big government, and it intertwines, and it's hard to point the finger at either side. It's really just the system itself is corrupt to the core. And there's like, to me, that's where a real problem of mine comes into play, because it's not that I don't love my country, because I absolutely do. God bless America. I mean it. I really do. I love this place. It's just that I don't really think that a lot of the things that are truly going to get us to a better situation necessarily are going to be something we vote for. I think it might take a little more than that, and that, you know, it might take a recession, it might take a revolution, and these are radical thoughts, but it's true. I don't really know if there's going to be a president or a senator or a congressman or whatever that goes in and, can radically shift and change the way that the system itself is set up, because it's too big, it's too intertwined. It's going to take a lot to make a lot of change, and just think it's not something, I don't seek, well, I guess I do seek reform and refinement of the government in a lot of ways. I just don't necessarily know what the fuck I'm talking about, so I don't really, make my opinion known too much, because I know my opinion is juvenile, thus for another reason why I don't vote, or the first reason, back to that one. So, I think our country was built on a beautiful foundation, the Constitution, the gold standard, whatever, you want to call it. Like, the Founding Fathers were adamant about letting the people know that a two-party system will fail, yada, 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 all sorts of things. I just think that, at the core, we have a really great foundation. This republic is amazing, but now it's turned into a very intricate, life form of its own that's, I feel like, kind of hard for the average person to really, truly get their mind around. And it may not even be possible, because things are changing every day behind closed doors, thus for making it even harder to discern what's going on, because, the radical shift of laws and decision making or whatever. Another thing is, back to big money, is private central banking, the Federal Reserve and their means of, and the government's means of fiscal policy, and then the Federal Reserve's interest rates and whatever, causing the economy, which is like the life form of, the bloods of the people, of, where our power comes in as a nation to stand independently and have influence over others, is our economy. And through, quantitative easing or whatever, and, fucking 2008 fucking economy crash, household bubble, and there's a lot to say about it, but through the extended printing and, addition of fiat currency through easing and whatever, we've pretty much destroyed every bit of, economy, and just are waiting and prolonging the decline of the dollar at this point. And I don't really think that's an opinion anymore. I think that's just kind of like, what comes up must come down kind of thing. If you blow something up, it's eventually going to pop and leak, and it's I don't know, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but at the same time I feel like, this is what fucking happens, and whatever. And then you have even more things, like you turn on the news, you turn on the address, you turn on YouTube, you turn on Facebook, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Your phone literally feeds you and caters to your opinions. And so you have corrupt media, and you have all these different life forms of agenda being pushed down your throat and segmenting you to believe in a certain realm of thinking. And it takes prolonged exposure to many different, opinions to really formulate your own, because you need to hear the shit you don't like, and you need to hear shit you do like, so you can find out what you like in the shit that you don't like, and what you don't like in the shit you do like, so you can make your own. I know that might sound contradicting, but it's true. but so you can make your own rationalities and subjective opinions on how you really believe the flow of things should go. It's hard to visualize, and really understand 385 million people who live in this nation. It's really hard to understand, how much that is, how big we are, how much land we have, how many states there are. It's hard to visualize and see. Really, it becomes numbers and stats and blah blah blah, and then you put on this lens of I think this way, and then you try to calculate with the best decision, and that's what voting is trying to make a better decision for the whole of us, through your individual. But the individual is what makes the community. So if you don't have a strong individual, you lack a strong community, because the community is easily swayed, because the individual is easily swayed into believing whatever this big money, big agenda, big, corrupt government pushes down your fucking throat. And I'm sorry, but it's fucking true. It causes me fucking issues all the fucking time, where, you have people who have strong opinions on things. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about in the first place. Whatever. And I mean, maybe I'm the same way. I mean, I'm not going to plead, innocence to that either. It's... I just needed a good old Mother Nature, good old water. Always helps. I'm a little oily. Maybe it's just the light. Just got a shower. But either way, I just wanted to make that opinion. That video on my opinion on voting. And I probably missed a few things. That's for sure. But I think a key thing is that I don't feel old enough. I don't feel smart enough. I feel like the things that I have access to are fucking skewed to, push certain agendas that benefit certain industries, and I have a problem with it. So that's why I'm not voting right now. Maybe it'll change in the future. Maybe I'll vote for 2020, and maybe it takes people like me to really, make those changes, and to really inflict and influence others around me and the nation. And I wouldn't mind having that position and that, that authority and confidence in my vote. And I'm by no means am I saying I would never vote, or it's not worth it, or you shouldn't vote, or anything like that. I'm just trying to give reasons to why I haven't and why I may not for the next few years or the next year or so or whatever. And at least right now it's how I feel. So this is 18 minutes of Blaze rambling about a bunch of fucking shit. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.